So I definitely have some explaining to do with this trade. Take a look at what has happened since the start of this trade. I actually entered this yesterday when I was at the office, but I just got super busy and I wasn't able to film yet. And look what happened. Price shot up, right? Okay, but look at how close this thing came down to my stop loss. I haven't adjusted my stop loss at all. This just barely missed it.
Oh, that was close.
In fact, if we take a look at this, this is a miss of about 1.5 pips, which is incredible that we stayed in the trade. And now I'm coming back and I'm filming the trade. I'm a bit late to start, but we've come all the way back. So I feel like this trade is giving us a second chance. We'll see if this thing can hold. Now, first of all, like I said, I apologize for being late to start filming this trade. I don't usually do that, but just because, you know, I did take the trade. I like to film a lot of my trades and things just get crazy in the office sometimes. But let me show you my logic for why I took this trade. Of course, in hindsight, it's gonna look a little bit silly, but we basically had, because my entry was kind of terrible. So we basically had past resistance turned support, and that was kind of my question, right? So I was looking at this and I was saying, well, basically what happened here is that we shot through this level. So this was a big level of resistance. Price essentially came through it very, very strong here, like beautiful green candle, and I was like, wow, NZDUSD is looking very strong. Now, also to add some context to the situation, if we go here, if we go change, I want to show you guys something. The stock market, at least so far, it's not looking so well. Actually, let's find it. Where is it? Where is it? NAS 100. So the NASDAQ, the US 30, and the SPX 500. So these are the US stock markets and oil. We have a lot of risk on assets that are doing very good. So part of that carries over into my analysis with NZDUSD. This is, by the way, a currency pair that tends to be risk on, meaning that people will buy this pair usually when the markets are optimistic and things are looking good in terms of global health, global growth, things like that. When things are bad, this tends to get sold off a cliff. I'll give you an example so that you can see that I'm not just making that up. Today's video is sponsored by Lime Trading, an agency broker bringing hedge fund-like technology to all traders. Lime has recently added MetaTrader 5 to its suite of tools for experienced traders who trade US equity and options markets. The MetaTrader 5 trading platform offers powerful tools for technical analysis as well as algorithmic trading. If you're not sure whether MetaTrader 5 is right for you, you should test drive the platform with Score Priority Prime's Quick Start, which is a program that lets you trade with real money before you open a trading account. Down below in the description, there's going to be a link dropped for you. Make sure to click that link, test it out for yourself, and let me know what you think. Now back to the video. Take a look at the time, if you've been watching the markets at the time of me filming this video, we've had a really rough year, right? Stocks have been crumbling, and you can see NZDUSD has come down with it. Now, if we also just scroll out just to show you some more context, remember 2020? Yeah, 2020 was not great for this pair, right? It took a nice little jump off a cliff there. And so when we look at it now, why am I betting on it long? Well, we've seemingly found a bottom here in 2022, and stocks have really been rallying. And so with that, I think that there could be some sympathy move with risk on currency pairs like NZDUSD. So I have been looking for bullish setups within this pair. Now, as price basically has broken through this level on a retest of structure, I wanted to get long, and then by the time I looked at it, it had done this crazy whiplash move where it jumped right through those levels. But then I was like, hey, you know what? This is actually kind of cool because we've got some nice levels of support here that have also held very nicely. In fact, now after my entry, we've even retested that area again and held beautifully. So although my entry was kind of bad, I think that my stop loss placement, well, in hindsight here, was excellent because it barely kept me in the trade. The question now is, can we get a break to the upside and can we get some continuation? Because what I'm looking for is this trend here that we're seeing to continue. We've been seeing a nice series of higher lows and higher highs, right? So I'm looking for that to continue. We could technically put on a little bit of a channel here, though I'm not a big fan of trend lines personally. You can kind of see the basic idea. We have a nice little upward trajectory. All I'm looking for is a continuation play. Otherwise, I'll stop out of the trade for a small loss of only $200. Now, I say that I have another trade open at the time of filming this, so my EuroCAD trade is going well at the same time. Whenever I have several trades open, I don't like to pile on huge risk per trade, so I'll take small risk per per trade. So I have $200 on this, $200 in EuroCAD, and I have a couple trades that I'm looking to also add to the account as well. So anyways, in terms of targets, we've got to talk about it, because the next idea is, now that we've got, you know, the idea of like, well, you know, we are looking for a move to the upside. Well, where is that move going? And I'm actually going to make this white. I think white is a good color for that. Okay, so in terms of targets, right, we have this previous high here. That's a pretty obvious one, and at that point, what I would probably do is move stops to break even. In fact, if things go well, that is probably what I will do. In terms of continuation from the bigger picture, though, we've really found what seems to be a strong bottom. If I'm correct about that, we have potential to really make moves higher. Meaning, you know, you have potential like moves up to here, here, here. And if price goes bullish, it's probably pretty reasonable to think that we could head to retest those areas. Now that's a massive distance away in terms of relative to my stop loss, but it's something that's possible, right? I guess I should add one level also right here. So, you know, those are sort of like optimistically where we could go, but the first stop would just be to see if we can get a move here. If that happens, what I'll do is I'll take my risk off the table. I'll trail my stop to break even. If we're able to break past that level, then what I'll do is I'll probably trail my stop further. So if you're familiar with my style, and maybe some of you guys are not, if you are not familiar with my style, I tend to trail my stop loss. I don't use a strict take profit because I never know how far a market will run. Because I'm a trend follower, I don't try and assume when the trend is going to end. I just go with the trend until it does. And yeah, so my definition of that, of ending, would be hitting a stop loss. So I'm looking for this to continue, right? And I'm looking to trail this stop loss. So now we have the entry reason, right? Simple break and retest, risk on environment. Things look good for upside here. And now it's just a matter of letting this trade play out. So if we stop out, it'll just be a small loss. But if we win, if we let this thing run, then we could potentially have a nice winner here on our hands, especially if, as we spoke earlier, the risk on environment continues and persists on things like SPX 500. NZDUSD would likely also have a continuation to the upside. So that's what we're looking for. What I'll do is I'll pause, give this some time, and we'll come back once a major update has happened. Okay guys, so I'm taking a look at this trade on NZDUSD, and I'm going to show you something that I don't always do, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to close this position right now. And there it goes. It's gone. Why did I just do that? Well, let me pause. I'll let people know inside of the group that I did that, and then I'll be right back. Okay, and we are good. I just let people know that I just closed out of this trade. Didn't like the way that things reacted on the news. And what I'm going to do here is basically save myself any extra damage that I don't need. I'm going to explain why I just closed that trade. I made the decision to do so just before I got the camera rolling. Basically, we just had some big CAD news and it shot things to the downside here. But at the same time, my NZDUSD trade, this one's going very well off that news, but my NZDUSD trade did not like that. And things came down very strong here just as we got going. Now, what I didn't like about that is that we held this area, but then instantly on a little bit of bad news, we put in a lower high and sold off. What I don't like about this too is that we kind of were making a breakout here. As I got this thing rolling, you know, things looked good. We got in here, price went against me, then shot up. This candle looked amazing, right? We broke through this level of resistance and that looked very positive. So at that point, at this instance, we had several points of, you know, hey, price should very easily be able to hold this if it's going to go bullish, right? That's the way I trade. Is typically what I do is when something breaks through a level, I say, hey, you know what? We've broken through that level. That should hold, otherwise I'm out. And I hadn't yet moved my stop loss yet, but based on the price action here, we basically saw a nice rounding off. We saw a shoot to the upside, right? And I didn't really want to see price do all this. So on this candle, as crazy as it may seem, you know, Nick, you took a stop loss early. Well, there's just things that I look for in my trading that if I see signs of a trade gone bad, I have no problem getting rid of a loser very quickly. But I'm very stubborn with my winners. So for example, if this thing was doing the opposite, if we were just screaming to the upside, I wouldn't just close out because it's gone into profit. But I don't like holding on to losers. And at this point, I'm already glad that I got out of the trade because again, my theory just was nullified on this candle. This candle completely told me that I'm in the wrong place. And instead of taking a $200 loss, I took a $150 loss. So not unhappy with this at all. This is a good learning video, I think. And why I share these videos is I know that they're not the most exciting trading videos. It's not like I'm pulling in 10 grand every single day from these trades, but it's real, and it's what, you know, a day-to-day trade looks like for me. I take a lot of small losses and occasional big winners. So for example, that 𝗀𝗧𝗏𝗏 trade looking really good. We've locked in some stop loss here, $500 on the trade. Maybe this one will keep going, and we know for sure that we'll come out positive despite losing a little bit on the first trade because we've already locked in a winner, right? So we've let this thing run, and overall we're in a good spot. So that's where we're at with the trade. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not already, and we'll see you back for another one soon. Looks like it's time for your next trading video. Check out the videos here and here for more free trading content that should help you in your trading journey. We try and keep it real here, so make sure to subscribe for more content that is down to earth, realistic Forex trading content. See you in the next video.